70 million acres of wide open possibilities. Nevada is untouched. A place where the desert comes to life, the ground holds the history, and nature perseveres.
There's evidence of people in this area up to 13,500 years ago with Clovis Point.
I visit one of Nevada's newest national monuments, Basin and Range.
And at that time, the wildlife could no longer live there, so they either went someplace else or they disappeared.
I step in to help preserve Nevada's state animal, the Desert Bighorn sheep.
This heat is thought to be the result of the geological history of the regions.
I dip my toes in Spencer's Hot Springs.
I mean, it's got that moon landscape. You look out there and it looks like the layer of the moon.
And in central Nevada, I experience a moon-like terrain. Ah! Pretty spectacular, isn't it? Nevada's like that. I'm John Burke. Join me as I explore the 7th largest state in the nation, here on Outdoor Nevada. Welcome to Basin and Range National Monument. It's new, established in July of 2015. It's huge, 704,000 acres, and it is spectacular. Today I'm joined by Harry Conwin, one of many archaeological experts who've been scouring the Basin and Range for evidence of ancient Nevada residents. So we are in the archaeology district of the monument, is that right?
Well, it's called the White River Narrows Archaeological District, and it was included in the monument to facilitate and bolster its cultural resources.
How long ago do you think the people were here?
There's evidence of people in this area up to 13,500 years ago with Clovis Point. That was discovered within 10 miles of this place.
Within its colossal borders, the Basin and Range National Monument contains many different districts, each with their own beauty and treasures. Down in the White River Narrows remains a hidden cache with 13 sites of precious art from a culture long gone. And what kind of stuff have you found?
Within here, we found evidence of the manufacture of stone tools. Those same stone tools, we found grinding slicks where they ground their grain. And of course, there's this rock art.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What does this say?
Well, I have no idea.
As an archaeologist, does that frustrate you?
It fascinates me. And that's one of the things about coming up here to the Basin and Range National Monument, is that when you find these petroglyphs like that you can picture and imagine just exactly what were they trying to communicate.
To date, we lack the tools to understand the meaning behind these ancient petroglyphs. But perhaps the key, where ancient art meets modern language, lays somewhere in the Nevada desert. Who knows what remains unfound? Alicia, how are you?
Great, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you. Thanks for meeting me all the way out here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Wildlife biologist Alicia Stiles manages the Basin and Range. She's graciously taken time from her job caring for hundreds of thousands of acres to meet me in the remote reaches of the monument. How'd you end up here in this job?
Well, I was a biologist, and so I was already working in this general area, and I decided I wanted to try something different, and this has been a change.
Yeah, I just managed 704,000 acres. Yeah, it's a little bit different. How is it working out for you?
I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. It's very remote, and there's just tons of opportunities for recreation.
How many areas are there in the monument?
Well, there's several different areas. There's White River Narrows Archaeological District. There's this natural arch here, which is an important geologic feature. There's the Mount Irish area, which also has both prehistory petroglyphs and mining history. It's a historic mining district. And then there's the two main valleys, Coal and Garden Valley, which are very important parts of the monument as well.
You mentioned the arch. Tell me about it.
So this arch is roughly about 10 feet tall, the opening that you see there. And it was probably caused from erosion when water got into cracks in the open area. and through the freezing and thawing of that water, broke apart the rocks and created this opening or arch that you see today.
The monument was dedicated by President Obama under the authority of the Antiquities Act. The proclamation protects not only the relics in the area, but also the rare plants and animals. If somebody has not heard of this area yet, or has just heard of it and was really wondering, well, why should I go there? What would you tell them?
Well, it's a very remote area. If you want to get away from the hustle and bustle of a big city or a plugged-in life, there's no cell coverage out here. So this is a great place to come and explore, hike, camp, look at geologic features.
And I got to tell you, one of my favorite things to do in the world is to hike. So I'm going to go take a look around, but I just want to say thank you for meeting me all the way out here. You're lovely.
Thank you.
And this place is just phenomenal, so thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Open public lands like these, preserved by the Bureau of Land Management, are truly a gift. If you haven't seen anything incredible today, head outside. Well, make no mistake, coming out to Nevada's newest national monument is a little bit of a journey, but it's a journey worth taking. And remember this is your land. Come on out and explore it. Just outside Alamo, Nevada, founded in 1901, population of about 1,000, there's a dirt road. And if you take that dirt road for what seems like forever, you'll see miles and miles of this. And while it's extraordinarily beautiful to look at, there doesn't seem to be a real pressing need to be out here. Actually, that could not be further from the truth. There's a group of volunteers that comes out here on a regular basis to make Nevada a much better place. While there are plenty of conservation groups dedicated to wild sheep preservation, the Fraternity of the Desert Bighorn is the only group based in Nevada that focuses solely on the Desert Bighorn sheep. Eddie, I have climbed a tall mountain to find you today. It's so good to see you.
Nice being here. I'm glad I could be here.
Now tell me about this fraternity. When did it begin? Why?
Well, the fraternity actually started in 1965. The Nevada Department of Wildlife looked around the state and they said, we got to do something for our bighorn sheep. We're losing our bighorn sheep. As near as we can tell, we only have 2,000 left in the whole state. So we got together, and there was 8 or 9 of us, and that's how the Fraternity of Desert Bighorn came to be.
Using historic accounts and archaeological evidence, the Nevada Division of Wildlife estimates that in 1860, approximately 30,000 bighorns roamed Nevada. That's a decrease of over 90% by the time the fraternity was assembled. So you decide, hey, we're going to help out. We're going to try and tackle this problem. Never been done before. What's the first step?
Well, the first step was to get some information on sheep. So they put ear tags on them or put some monitors on them and then turn them loose so they could follow them and see what was causing the population to decline.
What was the cause?
The cause was loss of habitat. The cause was where these sheep lived, there was water. When white man came to the desert, he had to have water. So he moved in on the water. And at that time, the wildlife could no longer live there, so they either went someplace else or they disappeared.
The fraternity developed what they call guzzlers, which collect between 7,000 and 12,000 gallons of rainwater to be distributed out to drinkers for the bighorn and at least 68 other species. So you came up with this system. How did it work? Did it work well?
It worked great. That was the answer. We gave them back a place to live. And when we gave them a place to live, they thrived.
How often are you coming out here?
I come every chance I get.
How many have you been on?
We built approximately 120 guzzlers, and I've been on every one of them except one.
Today, I've joined the group to help replace some old pipes on the guzzlers. We're doing the work in the fall, so that when the spring rains come, the guzzlers will be ready to store water for the summer months ahead. Okay, take me through the nuts and bolts of how this whole system works.
All right, well, the whole system is what we call a guzzler, and it is collecting rainwater. And as you can see up here on the top of the ridge is a collection surface that's a 40 by 80 apron, which is 3,200 square feet. And that 3,200 square feet with 4 inches of rainfall will collect 7,000 to 8,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
So we rely on that spring rainfall and the snowfall to fill these tanks, which are 2,300 gallons apiece, which hold about 7,000 gallons.
So what happens? It collects the water, then
Collects the water, then it comes down through those pipes, coming down here into the tanks, and then it fills the tanks, and then from the tanks it goes to the drinker that's over here, and that is controlled by a float valve.
The tanks are naturally black to block out the sun and prevent algae from growing inside. Volunteers then paint the tanks to camouflage them, minimizing visibility and their impact on the environment. So these pipes are leaking. They've held up pretty good. It's been about 30 years, but obviously you can't put all this work into this and have leaky pipes. So that's one of today's issues, is to replace all these pipes. I gotta tell you, what a feeling it is to contribute. Thanks to the efforts of this conservation group, bighorn sheep populations have recently hit the 10,000 mark. How do you feel about these volunteers coming out here?
They're the heart of the organization. I mean, just look at these guys. They're out here on a Sunday. They could be home doing something else or maybe watching a football game. These guys make it work.
570 members strong, the fraternity sees at least 50 dedicated volunteers working on every project to help Nevada resemble what it once was. How important is the bighorn sheep to the state of Nevada?
Well, it's the state animal. It's our image. It's rugged. Look at it. The state, battle-born.
It's been an absolute pleasure, a very special day for me to come out here to see this, to be out here and to meet you. It's been a very, very special day. And so on behalf of the state of Nevada, to you and the volunteers out here, I want to say thank you very much. And I know it's been a special day for you too recently, right?
Yeah, I had my 80th birthday yesterday, so that's pretty nice.
I'm going to be you when I grow up someday.
Don't wish for... All right, thanks.
Seriously, thank you very much.
Guys.
Adopted as Nevada's state animal in 1973, the desert bighorn sheep's resilience in such harsh environments represents the endurance of Nevada and its people. There's one more detail to this story that I just have to show you. This is the drinking fountain, if you will, for the bighorn sheep. The volunteers have come by and placed a rock right inside of it. And you know why? Because they're concerned about the lizards and the smaller critters getting in and not being able to get out. It's just one classic example of these invisible warriors who care deeply about this state and everything in it. Just a stone's throw off the loneliest highway in America, up a dirt road, is a place called Spencer's Hot Springs, where people come to take a load off after a long day of driving and soak in the warm natural waters. And here to tell us more about all this is Bridget Aileen. Bridget, nice seeing you.
You too, John. It's great to be here.
So you have a couple of hats, a couple of titles. Tell me what they are.
Yeah, so I'm an associate professor in the Nevada Bureau of Mines and Geology at the University of Nevada, Reno. So that's the state's geological survey. And I'm also the director of the Great Basin Center for Geothermal Energy.
And how long have you been doing all that?
I've been in geothermal for about 10 years, actually. So I've been fascinated with hot water and hot rocks for quite some time. But I'm from New Zealand originally, so I grew up with geothermal hot springs and, you know, for a long time in my childhood as well.
Most of Nevada is in the Great Basin, a 200,000 square mile area that drains internally. Rainfall here doesn't make it to the Pacific Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico, but some of it does make it into hot springs. In terms of Nevada, this is actually a very popular spot, and this is a culture that goes back a long way, right?
Absolutely, yeah. People have soaked in hot springs for thousands of years. Ancient civilizations in China and Japan and Middle East and Europe, hot springs have been a really key part of our society, and I hope that continues for a long time going forward. There
are a lot of hot springs in the Great Basin, are there not?
There are. We're standing in one of the hottest areas in the US, so we have many hot springs, and some are so hot that you can't soak. So you have to watch out, you know, but we're very lucky to be in the Great Basin region.
Due to its unique geology, Nevada has 312 known hot springs, the most of any state in the nation. And with its great views, remote location, and perfect water, Spencer's Hot Springs is one of the best places to enjoy a relaxing soak.
Okay, how great is this?
This is fantastic. Life is good.
Life is very good. Let's talk about the water itself, all right? Let's start there. What is the temperature of this water about?
This water is around 40 degrees Celsius, so about 104 Fahrenheit.
Perfect.
Yep.
Does the water have any minerals that are good for the skin?
There are some minerals in this water. It's actually pretty fresh water, this one, so it probably came from rainwater a very long time ago. But we know there are some salts in this water. We've got some sodium, some magnesium, some chloride, some potassium, and some bicarbonate. So we do have some dissolved minerals in here that are said to improve your health and well-being, but in all honesty, it's probably just the hot water that makes you feel good.
And that's good enough.
Spencer Springs water is safe, but some natural hot springs have dissolved substances like arsenic that can be dangerous, especially if swallowed.
And you see a lot of them in Nevada. Why is that? It's just the way it is?
Yeah, well, fortunately, the Great Basin region, which is, you know, most of Nevada and half of Utah, it's an area where we have a lot of heat at quite shallow depths. So this heat is thought to be the result of the geological history of the region. So over about 17 million years, this region has been stretched. It's been pulled kind of east-west direction, and that's created these mountains that we see around us and these basins and these valleys. And it's also meant that we have quite a thinner crust. And so the heat from the center of the earth and the mantle is closer to the surface and provides a heat source for our geothermal systems.
Let's talk about geothermal as an energy source. I would imagine that that is something that's very viable in this area.
Yes, it is. Yep, we actually are not far from one of Nevada's biggest geothermal power plants, which is called McGinnis Hills. And water temperatures that are above about boiling or hotter, we can use for power production. And as it turns out, we have about 24 power plants in the state of Nevada, and we produce the second largest amount of geothermal electricity for the US.
Wow.
So we're a geothermal region.
The McGinnis Hills power plant produces about 87 megawatts of electricity, enough to power around 87,000 houses.
What is the future then of geothermal energy?
Hopefully we have a positive future. You know, I think we have the area has so much potential for geothermal. You know, we're in one of the hottest parts of the country, and we have only just started to scratch the surface with our development.
Due to state law, by 2025, at least 25% of Nevada's electricity will have to come from renewable energy sources. So there's no question that the future of geothermal is heating up.
Well, this has been just a great way to spend a day. I'm glad I know about this. It's a culture. People come here, they camp out, and they get to enjoy this and enjoy the great outdoors, and that's what it's all about. Thank you so much for your time today.
No worries, John. Thanks.
A landscape so alien, NASA used it to train for the moon missions. But this amazing crater wasn't caused by anything from outer space. It was made by a massive explosion that came from the depths of the Earth itself.
I gotta tell you, one of the best parts of my job is getting to see and do things that I wouldn't have had the chance to experience otherwise, really. And today it's the world-famous Lunar Crater. And that's why I have with me Paul Amar from the BLM. Nice to see you, buddy.
John, good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Now let's orient everybody. Where are we exactly?
So we're 75 miles east of Tonopah, Nevada. We're on the south end of the Pancake Range, and we're on the Lunar Crater Backcountry Byway.
The Lunar Crater Backcountry Byway is a 24-mile-long unpaved loop accessible from Route 6. Don't count on cell phone service here. You're definitely off the beaten path.
What exactly do you do for the BLM?
I'm an outdoor rec planner, so that includes, management of sites like this, campgrounds, permits for things like Vegas to Reno, races, that sort of thing.
And what's one of the best parts of your job?
Definitely getting out here on the ground. Lunar Crater, getting to see the sites, the opportunity to go out and really experience what a lot of people don't always get to see.
Why are we standing here talking? Let's go check it out.
Let's hit it.
The Lunar Crater was added to the National Natural Landmark Register in 1973. And looking around at its magnificent otherworldly beauty, it's easy to see why.
Paul, I gotta tell you, now that I'm finally here, and I've always wanted to come here, this does not disappoint. This is just awesome, but it's massive. How big is this?
It's huge, right? It's 3,000 feet wide, It's around 450 feet deep. It's big. There's over 2,000 acres that encapsulate this landmark.
How did it get here? It was not a meteor?
It's not a meteor, right? So we call it the Lunar Crater, but what it's referred to as geologically is a maar. So what traditionally will happen is, you know, magma, lava, as it rises into a dome typical structure, and then the top of the volcano explodes as we're used to seeing. What happens with a maar is it starts to form, it runs into a sheet of water and just explodes and then immediately collapses onto itself. And it gives you that perfect bowl shape.
Mars often fill up with water to create a lake. This being Nevada, the lunar crater is almost always quite dry, but it will hold water after a rain.
Are there more like this in the area?
There are. So within the Pancake Range, which we're situated in, there's also Easy Chair Crater, there's lava fields nearby. A lot was going on when the Earth was rumbling and moving.
And about when are we talking?
Estimates range, but we kind of narrowed it down to around 15,000 years ago.
You know, that doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah,
You know, geologically, that's just a blink of an eye.
It's kind of scary when you think about it, but yeah, not that long ago.
Scientists believe that this area may still be volcanically active. But since the next eruption could be hundreds of thousands of years away, it's extremely unlikely that it's going to blow up during our visit.
So it's called the Lunar Crater. But what does this have to do exactly with the moon?
So in training for their lunar landings in the 60s and 70s, the astronauts came here, they tested their vehicles here, they tested their suits here, they collected core samples, they worked on their communication skill set. In fact, one of the great stories of that training is, you know, is in a big caravan of being out here and training together. One of the few that were in a vehicle got left behind, they broke down, and one of the astronauts had to hoof it all the way through the crater to the other side to flag down his team. They didn't have cell phones back then, there was no way, and they were gonna spend the night out here, and it's pretty cold at night. So it was quite a time to be here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And when you stand up here and you look down, you can almost see them down there training. It's kind of eerie, isn't it?
It's hard not to imagine this as a crater, as a moon landscape when you look at it. I mean, it's got that moon landscape. It's pocked, it's cobbled stones. You look out there and it looks like the layer of the moon.
And it's remote, but it's accessible.
It is. So we're 75 miles east of Tonopah. We're on the backcountry byway. So we're out here, but you can get to it pretty easily. And the greatest thing is there's no lines. You can come right here, lay your hands on the natural resources.
Incredible. And I love that. Can I camp here?
You can camp here. This is BLM land. These are your lands. We want people to come out here. You know, don't create new roads, follow leave no trace ethics, take pictures, only leave footprints. And yeah, if you want to hike out and set your tent up off the crater, absolutely.
Luckily, you don't have to leave the planet to enjoy the out-of-this-world view.
I know the awe that I feel when I see this. How do you feel when you come here and you look?
You know, for me, it's that sense of solitude. The vastness of Nevada really takes you into the area. In fact, a gentleman in my position, a rec planner, this was his favorite spot on the entire district. We have 10.6 million acres, and this was the area he came to reflect. And his family actually put in a bench to memorialize him there. And that says a lot. For that 10.6 million acres, this is the one spot that he wanted to be remembered, and his family remembered him at.
I can see why, because it's timeless. It's so still, but you could look at it forever.
You know, every time I come here, you find something different. There's something different to look at. You do have that opportunity to unplug and think in a different way.
450 feet to the bottom. Have you ever been down there?
I haven't. I've asked myself every time I've come here, will I have time? Will today be the day? What do you think?
Let's get to the bottom of it.
Let's go.
All right.
The trail down is pretty rugged, so wear hiking boots. And once in the crater, it's easy to imagine you're walking on the surface of the moon, only without the bulky spacesuits.
Oh, that's a pretty good hike.
I'm seeing the end.
We're there. We're almost there.
Well, I gotta tell you, when we were going down, I think it was kind of like that. Coming up.
Straight up. John, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Lunar Crater is one of Nevada's 6 national natural landmarks.
We were looking for little pieces of NASA equipment, but we came up empty on that deal.
Came up short, but we got to see the bottom.
Man, just knock that one off the list. We did it. Thanks again, buddy.
Thank you. Let's get out of here.
Let's get some water.
All right.
The Lunar Crater is 288 miles from Reno, but the moon is around 238,000 miles away. It's a much easier trip, and it's well worth it.
Well, this is it. This is the bench that was placed here in honor of John Joseph, who loved to come here and just contemplate the silence and the peace and the awe and the history of Lunar Crater, and I get it. It's been here over 15,000 years, and somehow it seems like there's still just not enough time to take it all in.
Support for Outdoor Nevada comes from Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas and Jaguar Land Rover Reno, inspiring the spirit of adventure with confidence in any terrain or conditions. Information at jlrlv.com or jlrreno.com.